And good evening. I hope everyone is doing well as we get ready for an active weather day tomorrow. As we all know, there's a lot of closings that are delays, I think is a better way to word that. Delays in schools tomorrow. We're going to go over that complete list here in just a moment so that you'll know everything that's going on, who, what, and how when it comes to schools being out. Joining us now, as we mentioned, as we talk about weather, one of the big names in the area is Stormin' Norman. A lot of folks know this guy, and he's joining me. How are you doing this evening?
What's up, Scotty Ray?
Man, I'm glad to have you on here with us. Your take on tomorrow, if you're sitting here watching us tonight and you think, well, scale 1 to 5, should I be worried about this? Where would you put that with 5 being the highest?
Well, it's a 3 right now, so I'd probably put it right there at a 3. We got enhanced risk with severe weather. I think the biggest, worry is that the time of the day that this is going to come through, and there's a couple reasons to worry. It's because of the instability. A lot of sun, a lot of heat is going to be building during the morning, and then by the afternoon, that's when that line or these supercell thunderstorms will get going. And if they have a full day of sunshine, then that's not going to be a good thing. That's going to pretty much put a lot of fuel to the fire there.
Now, as we're talking, I've got radar pulled up, and to the north of us, all of this Kansas City and these areas here that have all these storm watches for winter weather is above us. And then what's coming up from us is going to be hot air mixing with that, and it's pretty much going to meet over the top of Mississippi. Is that the best way to put it in layman's terms?
Yeah, pretty much. And there's a lot of things that go into make a tornado. The wind shear, obviously, the different air masses colliding, instability. If this line was coming through in the morning, that would limit the instability. But since it's going to be in the afternoon, that's where kind of the problem gets. And also, you got the schools issue. Looks like the time frame for our area is anywhere from 2 to 4. And so, that's not a good deal for schools. And so that's another thing. There'll be a lot of people on the roads during that time period also.
Right, and as I mentioned a moment ago, I'm starting to get, and I want to say Union is also going to be closing down at lunch tomorrow. And if you're watching this and you work somewhere, or if you work at a school, make sure that we get a list that you're going to be closing so we can pass that along. As you point out, you don't want to be on the road. And if you go back and you watch videos of every one of these storms that happens, if you're traveling down the road, pine trees start snapping, and so many people get killed each year from a tree falling on a moving car.
Yeah, the car, you would think the car would be a lot better than being outside, but that's not the case. If you're on the road and you see or you think a tornado is fixing to be on you, you get out of that car.
Yeah.
That's no protection at all for, in a car.
I've always heard as a kid, and I think they've changed this to where if you were going down the road, jump out, get underneath the bridge. But I'm hearing, that right up underneath that bridge where it meets that concrete is like a suction cup, and it'll pull you out of there too.
Yeah, there's plenty of YouTube videos of people thinking that's a safe place to go, but that's not a good place to go. If you're, if you're on the road and you have to, leave your vehicle, try to find a ditch, some type of structure that might give you some covering, protect your head. That's just not a good place to be on the road in a tornado.
Now, what I've got on the screen now is what we've got predicted for tonight's weather here of the severe weather, and that's taking in Oklahoma City, Denton, Texas, Plano, and those areas around Dallas, and that's a level 2. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this up for tomorrow, which is the outlook, and throw this up and show everybody the difference now between yesterday and today. And if you look at this, Shreveport, Louisiana, Little Rock, Jonesboro, all these areas over to Chattanooga are still a level 2. But right in the center of this is good old Mississippi and also Nashville, Tennessee, and portions over to Tuscaloosa and taking in Birmingham that's in this level 3.
Yeah, that's the instability. That's taking account that we're going to get sunshine tomorrow morning. It's going to, fuel the atmosphere and going to get those storms a lot of juice. Hopefully, tomorrow morning we can keep a low deck of clouds. That would be a blessing, to not have the sun to come out. But the National Weather Service predicted that the sun will come out. In fact, there are some areas, if they get enough sun, it could pop 80 degrees tomorrow.
Wow, that'd be a lot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and so that's why the concern. Therefore, that's why we're under the level 3 enhanced risk because of the sunshine. Like during the summer months, it doesn't rain in the morning; it rains in the afternoon because of the instability in the heat building. And so this is the same function that's going on tomorrow, except obviously there are a lot more parameters involved in it during a storm like this.
Let me ask you this: if you wake up in the morning, and what would be the tell sign that it's going to be bad, that we should pay attention to the weather on?
Well, I think in the morning you probably will have a low deck of clouds, but that's probably going to erode away. If you wake, by 9 or 10 o'clock, I expect the sun to start coming out. That will not be a good sign. And another thing too, we're looking at south winds gusting to 50 in some areas, even before the storms get there. And so, especially kind of northwest of this area, I think in our area we're looking at about 40 mile an hour gust before the storms arrive. And so, basically, tomorrow, the kind of the worst case scenario is the sun's out, it's warming up, well in the 70s, close to 80 in some areas, and we have a south wind from the Gulf of Mexico blowing at 20 to 40 miles an hour. Got cold air coming in from the northwest. We got wind shear working in from the southwest. That's just not a good combination.
And from the best that I can understand, that I've studied and looked at all of this, we're pretty much looking at a line right here at I-20 northward. Now, they've went down and they've put in Clark County and just a little bit there of Wayne County and Jones County. But for the most part, do you think it could go below that line, below I-20?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. In fact, I think the Laurel area probably has a greater chance than even the Jackson area for severe thunderstorms. Pretty much a Laurel, basically straight north to Tupelo, seems to be in east of I-55, seems to be kind of the bullseye for our area. That's because of the timing. We're expecting the storms to arrive mid-afternoon. A lot of instability going on by then.
Okay, that pushes it a little bit further south than I was expecting at this point. I'm glad we talked to you on that.
Yeah.
Now, as we do this now, if you own a business, and I know that we can't tell people what to do, but being prepared for tomorrow, and you've seen a lot of this. How long have you been involved with weather?
Well, I was in first grade, and I lived in Mobile, Alabama. So that would be about 75. Hurricane Elena, I believe, was heading straight to Mobile, and after that I was hooked.
And you've become a part of it, so you know a little bit about this too. And I want to stress, and that's where I'm leading with this, of you explaining to folks to take this serious, that this is not just something that is made up to scare people. This is serious.
Yes, it is. And, a lot of times we've talked, not a lot's happened, which is a good thing. I hope the same thing happens. But, there's always that chance, that a tornado could be upon you, and you need to know what to do. Yeah,
and as I talked about this morning, if you live in a mobile home, do not stay in it. Now's the time to figure out where you're going to go.
Yeah, if we get 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, I would, outside of the storms and stuff, that's not a good place to be. No, if I was in a mobile home, I wouldn't be staying in it anymore.
Right. All right. Is there anything on your end that you want to add to this as we talk about weather? Is there anything that we've left out, maybe I didn't ask, that you feel everybody needs to know?
Yeah, well, another thing to be watching too is, the strong, National Weather Service has strong tornadoes possible in our area. That'll come from supercell thunderstorms. These storms develop out in front of the cold front, or main line of thunderstorms. And so those are typically the storms that produce the EF2, 3, and 4s. And so those we need to be watching out ahead of the main line of thunderstorms. When you have a squall line move through, which is a line of thunderstorms, you can get wind gusts to 60 to 80 miles an hour, but pretty much if you get a tornado in that area, it's going to be very weak. They don't produce the EF3s and 4s. They still can do damage, but the strong tornadoes will come out of these discrete thunderstorms that develop ahead of the main line, and those are what we need to be watching out for. It can be sunny, I can remember when the Tuscaloosa tornado developed. I was here at Union, and it was sunny here, about 80 degrees. The wind was blowing about 30, 40 miles an hour. And I can remember looking to the northeast about 10 or 15 miles, and there it was. I mean, and it tracked all the way from Neshoba County, Kemper County, all the way to Tuscaloosa. And it was way out ahead of the main line of thunderstorms. And so those are the storms we have to really watch.
Am I right on that? Also, that storm that day, wasn't there a touchdown in Louisville as well that time, or was that the next one?
Yeah. Well, it went the one in 2011. It actually it was in Neshoba County, Bogachita area, just north of Bogachita. It touched down, and it went all the way to Tuscaloosa.
Very dangerous there.
Yeah.
And we will be checking back with you, Norman, to find out more about what your thoughts are, what the line of storms and what they're going to do. And we appreciate you being a part of this with us each time we do weather.
Yes, sir. And I was thinking also, how our extreme weather we had in Mississippi this time last year. You know what we were doing?
Sitting in the dark.
We were ice skating.
We were.
You just never know what you're going to get here.
No, we don't. And, as I learned from that, I thought electricity was bad to be without, but I quickly learned that I would rather be without electricity than be without water.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, hopefully we'll be all right. I think we will be. Just have to be weather conscious tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for dropping by and talking with us this evening.
Anytime, Scotty Ray.
All right, appreciate it. Again, that's Stormin' Norman joining us this afternoon, or tonight rather already, as he tells us his predictions of what he thinks is going to happen tomorrow. Now, as we continue with this, we've had a lot of closures here in the last little bit. And what I'm doing, I'm looking on my phone. We're fixing to have somebody else join us now from Lima. And this is going to be Odie Barret joining us here in just a second with the Lauderdale County Emergency Management Program of what Lauderdale County is expecting tomorrow. And Odie, I think you're there with us now, aren't you?
I'm here.
All right. As we introduce you, of course, you're the director of what we've got here in Lauderdale County. Let me pull your picture up where everybody can see who they're looking at. And that's who you're talking with, Odie here. And what should Lauderdale County be prepared for tomorrow? What are you expecting from your end?
We always prepare for the worst, no matter what it is. We're going to be looking ahead of this storm and seeing where it's coming out of and what direction it's taking. But we're looking at possibility of 40 to 50 mile an hour wind gust, but 70 mile an hour winds, possible high strength tornadoes, and quarter size hail coming out of this.
And that is serious. And which that prompted, I'm sure that your phone has been ringing off the hook today, especially with the school systems of, Odie, what do I do? And I think they rely on y'all a lot when it comes to that decision.
They do. They make the final decision, but I talk to them 2 or 3 times a day when we have something like this comes through, and give them the information that we get and try and give them as much of the tools needed to make the decision that they think is going to be best for the kids.
All right. And from what you're watching from the emergency management side, what is the timeline for Lauderdale County? Do you need to have that heads up and that you better be kind of watching everything? What time is that, you think?
We're looking at coming through our area from anywhere from 2 to 4. So, at least by 1 o'clock, you really need to be paying attention to what's going on. We'd like for you to continue to pay attention to the weather all day and keep ahead of it as it changes, not just in our local area, but what's coming out from the west of us. We send out alerts, through the Nixle, where you text your Lauderdale County zip code to 888-777, and we can get some alerts out, but not quite as quick as you can, Scotty Ray.
I hear you talking. Now, let me ask this, because, and this is always a question, there's a lot of people that don't own storm shelters yet, and I highly suggest getting one. It's for your safety. But if you've got one, there's always that risk that something could fly in the air and land on top of it, and you're kind of trapped. is it a good thing for them to call y'all and let y'all know that they have a storm shelter and where it's located on their property?
It is, and not just us, but we will get with the local volunteer fire department or make sure that the city fire departments know where you're located at if your shelter is in your yard. We want to make sure that when we're out looking around and seeing what everything looks like after this storm, we want to make sure that we're able to come by and make sure that you are able to get in and out of your shelter, that you're not just stuck in there and we're having to wait till somebody calls and says, hey, I hadn't seen my neighbor. Go ahead and give us that location.
And, this always happens with storms. Power can go out, and you can also, cell phone towers can be damaged by severe weather, and you not be able to call somebody. So just that little extra step is what I'm saying.
That's right. Always at least let your neighbors know where your storm shelter is. Make sure that your close family knows where your shelter is. And then it is a good idea to let us know. It's just an extra step to make sure that you're safe during this time. And I do want to put out that we get a lot of calls about a general shelter for everybody in the county, and it's kind of hard with the weather that we have. Sometimes it sneaks up on us, and we don't see the tornado in our area until it's almost too late. And we're wanting people to stay off the roads and get into a safe place early, and we just don't have enough places that we could put up enough shelters for everybody to come to one location and be safe about it.
Yeah, we
do want to.
On the rural route, there's not buildings like that exist.
It's not, and you want, if you build one, you really need to build one that's underground, that's going to sustain 200 plus mile an hour winds, and then you've got to find people to man that and to keep everything operational the whole time. It's just a huge process, and with right now, it's just easier for everybody to have their own storm shelter that they can get in at a moment's notice and stay safe at your home where you're not having to travel.
Now, why I got you, I want to bring this up because this has been a thing. I know we got the severe weather tomorrow, but we've also got what I would call a near emergency that's going on right now throughout the county and all across the state of Mississippi, and that's these wildfires that are happening. Your group are battling this and trying to keep it under control, and your advice about burning right now is what?
Don't. It's tough. I know people are wanting to clean up their yard and get everything burned up that they can, and I'm right there with you. I like a good fire too, but with the wind, the ground as dry as it is, the humidity being real low, it doesn't take much to spark a big fire, and you see majority of these fires was a small trash fire that got out of hand, and the wind blew it, and now you're calling the fire department. And by the time we get personnel out there, you may have had something that started at a 20-foot square area, and now it's grown to an acre and a half. The bad thing is we don't have forestry in this area. And used to, they were right down the road. We had 3 units here in Lauderdale County, and now our closest forestry unit is an hour and a half minimum away.
Oh, see,
and
I don't think
we get them called. It's tough to get them here quick.
I don't think a lot of people realize that we'd lost that service here.
We did. We sure did. And it's not just here; it's our surrounding areas. Clark County had a unit, and Lauderdale County had 3 units. Kemper had a unit. Neshoba had 1 or 2 units. Newton had 3 units maybe, and none of us have a unit available in our communities. So it being an hour and a half away for someone from forestry to come out here with the equipment, you put a lot of man hours out on the ground trying to protect these homes, when it was something that if we'd have just held off for a week or so with our burning, we could have saved a lot of time, a lot of ground, and probably some trees trees are people's property, people's livelihood, and a tree is not cheap if you ever burn one.
That's right.
You have to be responsible for it.
We just had the Mississippi Highway Patrol Troop H comment, and they said that motorists should obey all traffic laws during severe weather events and remember to watch for flash flooding to prevent hydroplaning. The Highway Patrol has to go out on that a lot.
Yeah, and our roads, we have a lot of places that hold a little bit of water, and it does not take much water to pick your tire up off the pavement. And, you turn around, don't drown. That's what we keep pushing out. We want people to understand it doesn't matter if you can see that may not be but a couple of inches of water, but you don't know if the road is still up under that water or not.
I'm going to throw a picture up while we're talking here. This is probably, and I've said this before, one of the most annoying things that exist in the world. And this is a NOAA weather radio. It's loud and it won't hush. You can't make it sometimes push the button quick enough. But it is a lifesaver, is it not?
Yes, it is. And it is perfect for someone to keep at their home. It will wake you up, that is for sure. And you can program it for your area. And then some of the general areas that we look at when we watch these storms come through. Polkville, Newton, if we see anything that's developing that area, we know that we may have something that's going to impact Collinsville.
Right.
If we see something that's coming through Raleigh, McGee, and Bay Springs, that area, depending on if it's going east or if it's northeast, is it going to hit Clarkdale or could it come straight through Meridian? So you can program these things to get ahead of the storm and keep in touch with what's going on before it comes to our area.
That's perfect. Odie, I want to say thank you. On a personal note, before you leave, I wanted to bring this up. Not too long ago, if I remember, you just recently got married, didn't you?
I did, back in November. I sure did.
And something happened about the time that you got married and you weren't able to go on a honeymoon. And then the next time you got COVID and couldn't go. And I want to say that I read somewhere that you were supposed to go on a honeymoon this weekend. And tornado weather, you think it's trying to tell you to stay home, don't go?
I tell you, I don't know. I'm hoping not. We plan on leaving out and getting on that ship this time. We missed the last two, and we need this honeymoon.
Oh, well, I wish you and the missus a lot of luck on that and enjoy yourself if you get to go there. But tell her we're pulling for y'all.
That's right. Scotty Ray, I appreciate it. I really do. And thank you for getting this information out to everybody and helping us get information out. I tell you, you've been a blessing for us to be able to help get this information. No matter if it's fires or tornado, bad weather, whatever it is, you're always willing to help us, and we appreciate it.
All right, Odie. Thank y'all, and we'll be in touch with you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Again, that's Odie Barret joining us there from the Lauderdale County Emergency Management team as we prepare for Lauderdale County. We're going to go over here in just a second of the closings that I know about so far of who and what time they're getting out tomorrow. We've got quite a few that have strolled in tonight. I wanted to point this out, and I've shown this before, but it never gets old because, well, it saves lives. As we talk about places to go and shelters, I'm going to show you what mine looks like. This is a picture of my tornado shelter that I've got. Now, you have to overlook the blankets that are probably 20 years old that we put in there just to have. But a great place. You can build these and put them in your home, or you can have those that are dug out, stuck underground. This is one of these solid concrete rooms here that I've got that's above ground. We go to it in case, and I almost put my studio in there. I come really close to putting it there, and then I changed my mind. But that's where you need to go. Have a weather plan in between now and tomorrow afternoon as to what you're going to do. By lunchtime, know where you're going. If you hear that there's a tornado warning, you live in a mobile home, go somewhere. If you're in a house, know where you're going in there, whether it's to a shelter, in the hallway, the safest place for you to go to make sure that you know all of that. Now, let me see here what else we got. The PPE, if you're worried about the COVID, make sure that you've got a little bit of that. This is another thing that is so just overlooked by people. And until you stepped on a nail, you may not believe me, but if you've ever stepped on a nail, this is like highly, highly important during bad weather to wear a shoe that has something like this, hard leather at least. Don't wear something that's skinny, that the least puncture that a nail could go through it because, well, if you go outside and your house is destroyed, your feet are going to get messed up. So protect your feet. You need that. Sleep in those when bad weather's coming. Air horns. This is a great thing if you are trapped to where you could blow that. Put that in your pocket where it wouldn't get blown away in case your home is destroyed. You can beep on that, and someone would find you when you hear them. And it's a lifesaver. It truly is. A pile of rubble, you just never know what the situation would be out there. And again, I know some of these ideas, you go, Scotty Ray, that's corny. Well, it may be corny, but your life is worth a whole lot more than just being corny. And as we look at this, prime example here, wearing a helmet during that, whether it's a motorcycle helmet, whether it's a football, something on your head, because that's where most people, what causes death in tornadoes is being thrown and the head damage that comes from this. And we don't want that to happen to you. This is just the scene of a mobile home that's been totally destroyed. If you look there in that left-hand corner, look at that. It's just a pile of rubble. Can it do that to a home? Absolutely. When you get into the F4, F5, it's going to tear apart anything that you're in. They're just bad. Storm shelters are great, but do not stay in a mobile home if a warning is issued. We want you here the next day to be with us, and always have this ready here. Generators. Doesn't hurt to crank that up in the morning, make sure it cranks up and will run in case you were to lose electricity. And again, we'll be in touch closely with EMEPA and all the power companies to make sure, should there be a power outage tomorrow, where it is and what's going on with it. Now let's talk a little bit more about weather, of what we've got lined up here, what you've been hearing here. As we look at the wildfire conditions, this is just backing up what Odie said just a moment ago. Don't burn. It's just not a good time. As we move forward on this is what we're looking at tonight here. We'll look back at my radar again in a moment. But here we are. This is what's coming. This is the severe storms from the National Weather Service of what they are predicting from Vicksburg to Jackson. That's about a Brandon line right there, right along in there. That's from 12 until 3. Meridian, from about Forest over is about 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So we got a 4-hour window that we're watching that it could be very dangerous tomorrow afternoon. Pay attention to that there. We are at a level 3. This stretches back to Vicksburg, goes all the way up north from here. That's going to be about Laurel where that is, and just straight up. So that's what we're looking at when it comes to where the bad weather will be. As we look at the east side of us, the west side of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Clanton, Alabama, and Selma at a level 2 at this point. They may change that at some point, but right now they're still at a level 2 on the east side of us over here. Now, and hang on, something about that just does not sound right, all of that. Let me pull up my radar here. Yeah, that has been changed, and for whatever reason, the National Weather Service there did not fix that. And let's relook at that. Here's Alabama off of my radar, and this stretches over again. This is a level 3 in Alabama, all the way up to the city limits of Birmingham there. Tuscaloosa, you are a 3 if you're watching this. All of these areas here where this burnt orange color, whatever you want to call that, including Huntsville, Florence, all of that area is a 3. I'm glad I caught that out of that, because I don't want to give misinformation of that was a little bit old, a couple hours old, and they had not changed it on their site right before we went on. Nashville, we got a lot of folks here that watch us from Tennessee that keep up with the weather here. Nashville, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, all the way up to Clarksville, you're included in this. Memphis, Jackson, all a part of what is coming there. Chattanooga, you're a level 2 as we look at this. Now let's go back over here and see if there's anything on this chart that I wanted to share with you that we're looking at here as we come across here. As we pull this up, this comes in from the Prediction Center from the National Weather Service, where they predict. And this is what they're talking about on tornadoes. This is the tornado outlook. You got your level 1, that brown area is a level 2, and this is a level 3. This is the activity that they are expecting here, and they're showing us right there in smack dab in the middle of it, Meridian, Jackson, Byram, even including this, down to that Laurel area northward. So tornadic activity is expected. Now, I've heard of people that probably know a whole lot more about weather than I do, that these storms could be very fast and very violent when they come. They may hit the ground running. As we talked with Storm and Norman a moment ago, if there is a lot of sunshine out tomorrow, it means it's going to be worse. If it were to be cloudy all day, it would be better. So heads up on all of this weather. We want you to be safe with everything that goes on it. Now, what's going to happen with the winds? Let's talk about winds tomorrow. Here we are. The Meridian area is still at a level 1 on the winds, and it means they'll have sustained winds of 15 to 25 miles an hour. 30 to 40 with the gust. Now, as we go just due north of us here and we cross into Kemper County and you go through that 2 mile bottom all the way through Philadelphia, when you get right across that county line past Battlefield is where it's going to change there to that level 2 with the wind. And that means sustained of 25 to 35. That's strong. 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts. And this is going to take in Philadelphia, all up here around Louisville, Noxapater, up to Mississippi State. Y'all are included in this. So timing again with the winds will be 6A to 6P. And with that being said, all at the same time, if you've got anything in your yard, garbage cans, swing sets, things that can blow around, and those tents. I doubt anybody has those still up this time of year. But you know the tents that you set out and you put your grill under in the backyard that gives shade. If you've got one of those up, you might want to go ahead and take that down because that's going to catch it and it'll be all over. Angie bought one. She had like $400 in it. It lasted 2 weeks. Poof, and it was gone just like that. I'll never forget that day because I remind her about it all the time. Just couldn't help that. But those are things to look for to make sure that you take care of. Get that taken care of. All right, now let's talk about closings that I have at the moment. If you've got a school or a business to add to this, inbox me, put it on here so we can grab this and add it to our list. Here we go with what we know about so far. Meridian Public School Elementary School will be shutting down at noon. Meridian Public School 6 through 12 will get out at 12:30. Lauderdale County Schools will shut down at noon. Kemper Academy will be closing at 1 p.m. Tomorrow. Patrician Academy, 12 noon. Newton School District, 12 noon, they will get out. Enterprise Schools will get out also at noon. Russell Christian Academy has let us know that they will be shutting down at noon, including the preschool and Potter's Wheel. Also, Fundamental Nutrition will be closing there at lunch on North Hill Street. Community Christian School at 12:30. Daddy's Hands Daycare at 12:30. Newton County Schools. Highland Baptist Daycare at noon. Quitman Schools will turn out at 11:45. The Union Public Schools will shut down at lunch, and Barbara Henson Daycare will close at 12:30. Now, again, that's all I've got right now. And if you've got one to add to that, let us know. And Beverly pointed out, yep, we can't forget those trampolines. They love to go flying in the air and sailing everywhere. If you can tie yours down in some shape, form, or way, whatever you do, don't take one of those springs off. I don't know if you've ever been involved with trying to put the last spring on a trampoline, but it's not pretty. It's not fun. But see what you can do about tying down, securing that. We want to make sure that you don't lose those. Those aren't cheap either. As we look at comments here, those horns, Beverly, that you mentioned, they're very affordable. Lauderdale County Farm Supply most likely has those as well. They're cheap, not much to them there. Doesn't cost a whole lot there. Let's see here. Jerry Mason says we'll be using the weather page for the reenactors. Appreciate that. They're coming in. Don't forget that. Coming up in equipment on Saturday. All the bad weather will be out by then. We'll be back to sunshine and great weather as we move into the weekend. We just got this little snap here tomorrow, and it will be cleaning up there. Let's see here. As we glance up here, Denise said the Forestry Commission closed several years ago in Lauderdale County there. And they had shutdowns. That's bad because we could sure use those. Zane Roy, how are you doing tonight? Glad that you're joining us as well. LaWanda Grantham watching. I'm glancing over the notes here to make sure I hadn't missed anything. As we mentioned, the Mississippi Highway Patrol putting that out for us about driving in those flooded areas. Hydroplaning is bad. Bob Jackson joining us. How are you, Bob? Glad to see you tonight. My mother-in-law was there, Miss Barbara. Wanda Campbell, glad to see you. We got a little bit of everywhere watching from tonight, and we do appreciate all of y'all doing that. Let me see what else we have left out that I wanted to bring up tonight. A lot of crime went on today, and we're going to talk about that in the morning. If you've not joined us early in the mornings at 6:30, that 6:30 show, where we really focus on Meridian very hard to let you know what the weather is doing. And then at 8 o'clock, Candace joins me, and we do Meridian and all across the United States to let you know what happened. The main thing is we want you to be aware of what happens in our community. We work hard to do that. And all these people that you see passing on the screen here, they're a part of that make that happen. They're our sponsors, and we want to say thank you. And as a matter of fact, I want to do, just if you don't mind, I want to do some thank yous to people that sponsor us. Real good folks that come about and take care of us. Good folks here. Let's see here. I wanted to go here And one of our newest sponsors, and I wanted to make sure I said the name right, BAM's Towing and Recovery. They're located right there in Union, Mississippi, one of our new sponsors that just joined us. A big thank you for coming aboard and helping us. BAM will help you out there if you need to be towed for any reason. Sometimes cars break down. Also, Rodney Ring and the gang at Why Not Motor Sports Park are back as races start off. Honeysuckle's Floor Boutique, if you hadn't visited them on Flowers there on North Hill Street. Snowden and Company Real Estate, along with Percy Bland, State Farm. If you need home, any of that, they'll take care of you with the insurance. And make sure all your stuff is up to date. As storms come in, make sure you're not late on a payment on that and be caught. Percy will help you out if you buy a new car, house, whatever the case is. Citizens National Bank. If you buy a car, house, any of that, they're there. They're local. They want to help you as well. Godwin Group, and what they do is they clean homes. You've seen the commercials that we run for them. Yeah, they'll help. They're Ryan and his gang. Nice folks. Meridian Mattress, and you'd be shocked. I don't know if you're aware of this. Right here in little old Meridian, Mississippi, BIMCO. Handmade and sent all over the world out of Meridian, Mississippi. Still handmade. They'll take you in and let you look at the factory there where they put this together. If you ever have a problem, it's made here, and they can whoop you up real quick, like have you back going there. Made in Meridian. Great folks, too. The Rock House Gun and Palm. Boy, they don't get any better than that, do they? If you need a gun, they'll help you out there. And their brand new store that they've added there, The Back Porch. Have you visited there? Yeah, they're right with us. Freeman Tractor. You hadn't dropped in a while and seen those Skag lawnmowers. 494 is where they're located. Storms generally like to come out there and jump up all over Highway 494 and block the road, doesn't it? We'll watch that for you tomorrow. Kim's Photography, she's a sweetheart. If you need pictures for anything, she does that. Maple's One-Stop Shop. They've got 6 locations scattered around the Meridian area there. Give you the absolute best prices they can on gasoline and cold drinks and more. Sanders Gas, Chuck and his gang, they've been around forever, haven't they? The family tradition where they get you your propane, whether you need gas logs or maybe you're looking for a generator. They do that also at Sanders Gas. Reed's Tree Service, as we get into this, if you've got a tree that is overhanging on your yard, see Mike Reed. Mike will climb a tree in a heartbeat and get that taken care of. A house, one that leans over, do not stay in a room tomorrow that has a tree that overhangs it. Whether it's a bedroom or if you've got it hanging over your living room, don't stay there. It's dangerous. Chet's Paint and Body. I tell you what, talk to Chet today. Make sure if you've got a fender bender or anything like that with your car, you take it to Chet. Honesty, they'll take care of you there. SMI Automotive, also Joe and his gang, located on 22nd Avenue. Been with me since day one. A big thank you to Joe and his family. The Precast Group, and we talk about all of this storm shelter business. They're the folks that build it right here in Meridian. Solid concrete, 20,000 pounds. It's not going to move. Talk to them about how affordable it is to get you one. Storm shelters are great. They'll save your life, and it's mere pennies on the dollar. Trust me on that. Good folks. Eastgate Tire, Matthew and his gang, boy, get you a great price on a set of tires. Every now and then you got to buy those. They're there to align your car, put brakes, anything that you might be wanting there. Lauderdale County Farm Supply, you hadn't went in and visited with them lately, they offer a little bit of everything. Been there since 1932. Good folks. They'll be there tomorrow as well at the Farm Supply, and along with Joe and the friendly staff that hang out at the Piggly Wiggly. A lot of folks are employed there. You may have worked there growing up. Joe's given a lot of jobs. A great, safe place to go shop. Always clean. That's what you'll find at the Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville. And, of course, they've got the store down in Stonewall, all of our Clark County friends that are watching from that area there. Again, thank you for being a part of this. As we watch weather, I can't do it without you. You're the main thing. As you share this each day and let others know what we do. We'll be here tomorrow all during the storms, and we're coming back again live at 6:30 as we'll dig deep into what goes on in the Meridian area. Let you know what happens in the state of Mississippi. We tell it as fast as we know it. Try to give it to you in an honest manner that's relatable. That's what we're all about here. If you happen to see something, bump into something that you go, take a picture, snap it, send it to us. We'll find out what it is and let others know. Keep everybody safe. Again, thank you for being a part of our show. Can't make it without you. We're coming up on, what is today? Today is the 16th. 10 days from now, it will be 2 years since I sat in front of this mic, and actually I didn't have this room then. It was just a closet, I think, when I started out. And as we've had sponsors, we've been able to add cameras and lights and more gadgets to make this work. 2 years on the 26th, we will celebrate. And we're going to keep going more and more. I can't do it without you. God bless. Stay safe, and I'll be back in the morning. as we'll all gather together once again. Thank you. Good night, and we'll see you soon right here at the Scotty Ray Report.
Scotty Ray's Weather is brought to you by